Hello, I am Ameya, your host for this program called NY Speaks. In this program, we focus on India's world engagement. Today, we will focus on India Kuwait bilateral relations in various spheres. India and Kuwait enjoys traditionally friendly relations, rooted in history and have stood the test of time. Geographic proximity, historical trade links, cultural affinities, and presence of large number of Indian nationals in Kuwait continue to sustain and nurture this long-standing relationship. India has been a natural trading partner of Kuwait, and until 1961, Indian rupee was a legal tender in Kuwait. Till the discovery and development of oil, Kuwait economy revolved around its fine harbor and maritime activities. To understand more on this very special relationship between two countries, we have a very special guest joining us today, His Excellency Mr. Jasem Ibrahim Al-Najim, Ambassador of Kuwait to India. It is also a pleasure to have my co-host, Mr. Ranjit Kumar, a senior journalist and an expert commentator on foreign affairs. He was the former diplomatic editor of Navbharat Times, a Hindi news daily of the Times of India group, and he is also an author on India's nuclear policy, Kargil conflict, South Asian Union, and India-China relations. Welcome, Excellency, to this very special program.
Thank you very much. It's really given me great pleasure to be with you today. And we are ready for your question and to explain, for the people who follow us and watch us actually, how this relation is getting better and better and actually transfer from excellent to another excellent level.
Thank you. India and Kuwait had historical relations which has flourished over the time. Even before the common British connections, both the countries had flourished trade relations. Ambassador, how would you describe the historical and current state of relations between India and Kuwait and how we can further build on this relationship?
Yeah, of course, we can say that the historical relation, go beyond a long time, which is, actually like 200 years. We are enjoying this bilateral relation. Of course, we can put a time which is until or before independent, which is in 1961, and after, independent. We can put it in this time actually. So before 1961, Kuwait and India, of course, share many fields, in trade, especially in trade. Many Kuwaitis actually work there and start their business and their life actually in India. India is it's everything actually in Kuwaiti dictionary that time. So if you are talking about food security, you are talking about India. If you are talking about tools and equipment and every single thing, it's all come from India. Even the material for building, woods and a lot of things. We were lucky actually in Kuwait to have this a great wooden, as they call it, pots, and it goes from Kuwait to Basra, to Fao in Iraq, carrying the dates, and then go to India, to the whole ports on the east or west side of India, and then either back to Kuwait, other materials, or back to the East Africa, which is Zanzibar now, Tanzania, and then back to Kuwait. To reach Kuwait, of course, you can stop in many ports and at the Gulf region. So this is before 1961. After independence, this historical relation, of course, strengthened more and more. And from 1961 until now, we have excellent, actually, a relation in both fields. We can name it now, maybe, which is, and for example, for Kuwait, again, India is a place where you secure your food, actually, security. And Kuwait for India also is where secure the energy security, you know, so exporting and importing the crude oil, the petroleum, you know, petrochemical, and too many other items from Kuwait and the way around from India to Kuwait. It's not only trade, it's our, you know, bilateral in politics. We are together in the United Nations organs and all United Nations forums. We always exchange, you know, the same support and candidates. So, I believe we have excellent, and we are looking also to strengthen this bilateral relation.
Ambassador, you have given a historical perspective of India-Kuwait relationship, which flourished in ancient days. Now, in current days, you have talked about deep and mutual dependence, mutual interdependence in relationship between the two countries. Now, I would like to ask you about the trade and economic relations. What is the level of bilateral trade between India and Kuwait? And what are the principal imports and exports? And what are the new sectors that can be added to further deepen bilateral economic and trade relationship, Ambassador?
Yep. When you come to figures, of course, the figure does not, reflect the excellent bilateral relation. So we are talking about something like $3 billion, US dollars in a trade, and we are talking about another $5 billion for crude oil and other petrochemical, from Kuwait to India. So there is, of course, to strengthen this, especially in a trade and investment also, we have to do a lot of work. We started actually, maybe it's also the right time to mention the visit between, both countries. We are talking about ministerial visit. I was maybe lucky actually after 10 days of credential in 2018 in October, I still believe. 5 days after credential, to His Excellency, the President of India, a Minister of Work and Social Affairs visited India. So exactly after 5 days. 5 days later, the former Minister of External Affairs, Sushma Swaraj, visited Kuwait. So I was lucky actually to have two ladies, ministerial visit exactly 5 days after credential. And those visits, the high-level visit, also continues, and we have the Minister of State of External Affairs visited Kuwait in 2019, and because of the situation of the pandemic, the visits unfortunately goes down a little bit. But recently, our Minister of Foreign Affairs, and Minister of Cabinet, he was here in India on mid of March. And it was a really very important visit because we established a joint commission, and that joint commission will be the umbrella for other working group in all fields to strengthen the not only trade and investment, but also other fields. If you are talking about the bilateral actually opportunity, we have it in educational, in education, I mean, cultural, economic, of course, plus trade. We have investment. Kuwait Investment Authority investment amount of $5 billion in India, and I found it's a little. It's not a huge figure. We are planning to increase that figure, of course, through the Kuwaiti Investment Authority, KIA, with the counterpart with the Indian counterpart. They invest already in many fields and real estate and airport and petroleum companies, and we have to do more. And for me personally, I'm looking for double or triple the amount, to reach to 10 or 15 billion, because the size of Indian economic, of course, it's a huge, and more investment is required in this stage.
That's
What are the new sectors in which both the countries can further deepen the relations? What are the new emerging business opportunities between the two countries?
Yeah, I believe in refinery. Refinery. It's very important. We can talk about all petroleum or petrochemical products. It's very important because both countries need that. The crude oil from Kuwait. We need the petrochemical also, and you have on the west coast many refinery, huge one, and also to export it to other Asian actually market. So we talked about this investment, both countries in a third country. So we can both Kuwaiti and Indian investment, could invest in a third country. This is one idea. And of course, we have this, until now, it's not really focused on, which is the renewable energy, solar energy, for example. I believe soon Kuwait will join the alliance of solar energy to be one member. That there was a specific article to make the membership for specific zone. Finally, last year they changed this article, and now all the countries of the United Nations can join the alliance of solar energy. This is, I believe, it's very important because it will take us to another era of not only investment, but it's a huge amount of investment, and we have it all already. In Kuwait, for example, with the hot weather, to focus on that solar energy, I believe it's the time. Maybe we are a little bit delayed in Kuwait, but we are doing our best to follow that field.
Uh, Excellency, people-to-people relations have strengthened over the years. Today, India has the largest expatriate community in Kuwait. How would you describe the contribution of Indian community in the national development of Kuwait?
Yeah, of course, it's a great effort. Indian community has participated in building the new Kuwait, not only in 1961, but even before. All skilled workers like doctors, engineers have played a major role in developing the state of Kuwait. On the way around, the Indian community also indirectly contribute to the Indian economy by their financial, transactions to their family member in India. So I'm always focused on that. It's not only a matter of, people that work in Kuwait. It's even beyond that. We are talking about families that they lived in Kuwait for generation. We reached to the third generation, the grandfather, fathers, and son, and many people, they started business there from 1950s, and they are really a real businessman. We are not talking about small amount. I mean, so it's all about finding the right place, for to live, and then to share those moments with your relative and with your community. So of course there is a big role for the Indian community. Again, not only Kuwait. For example, Kuwait is one of that country in the region, in the Gulf region. Almost like 10, the population of Indian citizens is like 10 million in the Gulf. In Kuwait is almost 900,000 to 1 million. So they are, really participate and build our nation and the new Kuwait and other, countries.
Ambassador, can you talk about any specific measures taken by the government of Kuwait to improve the lives of the Indian workers in Kuwait?
Well, if you mean during the pandemic, the pandemic affect the whole world, not only the government in Gulf or the people in Gulf, so it's all over. But of course, we started to get back the doctors and the nurses and the people who work in the medical field, which is very important. And also, they are still talking about, well, there is measures that the government in Gulf, push the people to travel back to India. I don't believe it's correct. we are still enjoying, the participating of the Indian people and others in the community or in the Kuwaiti society, because there is needs for everyone to participate in building, the recent Kuwait or even the future. So about this issue, because I still believe the first 3 months of pandemic last year, the media were talking about many workers from India back, to their lands, back to India, and they lose their job. Yeah, I don't believe this is something exception for Indian citizen. That's the whole world. You can see, the whole world still suffer from the pandemic. The economic situation is not well, but we are still, and the whole employer and the government, they didn't push anyone to leave the country. It's the way around. They still work in Kuwait and enjoying, the time actually in Kuwait.
Ambassador, two countries are collaborating on various international forums. So what is Kuwait's stand on India's desire to become a permanent member of United Nations Security Council?
Of course, we are supporting the idea of expansion, the membership, the permanent membership of Security Council. The reform started at the United Nations in 1992. It started with Germany, Japan, and then India, Brazil joined, the group, and there is a group of 4G in the United Nations. Push the reform actually of the United Nations, organs, the Security Council, General Assembly, and also the way of working, the measures that they have to take it. So Kuwait is a member of the Arab countries, the Arab League, and even in Arab League, we are trying to, and support the idea of expanding the Security Council with Arab country, permanent, member. So we are together in the United Nations to expand, the membership of the Security Council and the total reform, actually, not only the Security Council itself.
Ambassador, are you expecting any senior level or highest level visits from India to Kuwait or from Kuwait to India?
Well, there is, both sides exchange the invitation. We have invitation from His Excellency the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, to the Emir of Kuwait, the head of state of Kuwait, Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmad Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, and of course from the head of state in Kuwait to the Prime Minister, His Excellency the Prime Minister. I'm not saying a secret that a Minister of External Affairs, His Excellency Dr. Jaishankar, is going to visit Kuwait very soon. We are preparing for that visit. And I always believe that we are on the right track, during 40 days, or let's say 45 days, a month and a half, 3 phone calls between both Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sheikh Ahmed, Minister of Foreign Affairs in Kuwait, and Dr. Jaishankar, Minister of External Affairs. They exchanged 3 calls, of course, regarding the pandemic and all the Kuwaiti the stand of solidarity with India, on that, and of course sending the supplies and oxygen. And we found also, it's a pandemic, it's really bad time, but also it's the right time to strengthen the bilateral relation. And we have to choose, or we have to knock every door, So if there is possibility to strengthen the relation, why not? And I think it's the right choice, it's the right decision, and we are of course preparing for the visit for His Excellency Dr. Jaishankar to Kuwait. It's soon, I hope within next 2 weeks.
Ambassador, you have given a brief overview of India-Kuwait relations with historical perspective and with regard to current relations or current days also. So now we should expect this relationship to further grow and grow for the betterment of both the nations and for the people of both the countries. Thank you very much, Ambassador.
Thank you.
That brings me to the end of this program called The Envoy Speaks. Thank you very much, His Excellency Mr. Jasem Ibrahim Al-Najim, the Ambassador of Kuwait to India, and also Mr. Ranjit Kumar for joining this program. Thank you very much to both of you. This is Sathaye for sarkaritel.com and diplomacyindia.com signing off from New Delhi, India. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellency,